If you're looking for a card trick that you can just perform once and melt the minds of your audience, you're gonna wanna watch this. This is an invisible deck. Now I know what you're thinking, I can see it. Well, we're gonna talk a little bit more about this. My introduction to this trick, we're gonna introduce a giveaway a little later, so stay tuned for that. And then we're gonna get right into how to use this deck of cards and a couple different ways that you can present it that really make it go like, wow. I'm also gonna be including a couple like bonus storytelling tips throughout that's gonna elevate any magic trick that you do, whether it be on stage or with your family or close up at a restaurant. It's gonna be awesome. Let's get right into it. So let's say you're new to magic and you do not have an invisible deck. Go pick one up. It's super important to have one of these in your arsenal. If you're a magician for a while and you still don't have one of these, just do yourself a favor, get one of these. It's an incredible tool to have just in your pocket, in your tool belt. You can pull it out and just perform an amazing magic trick without any setup. It's all right here. I would say you can pick one of these up at illusionist.com/DarrenJHummel, but it looks like those decks are currently out of stock. If you do want 10% off on anything at illusionist.com though, use this URL and you'll get 10% off, whatever you want. Magic tricks galore. They're just out of stock of the invisible deck, but it's all good. I think Amazon has even got these. Just go like get yourself an invisible deck, tell them Darren sent you, and they'll know what you're talking about, okay? So here's a little story time. I was leaving Universal Studios. I was like 11 years old or something like that, and I saw this dude outside. He had like a hover card, he's spinning a card, and I was like immediately like, what is this sorcery? So I came up to him and he just goes, think of a card. And I was like, okay, yeah, I think of a card. And he's like, what was it? I say the 2 of spades. And he goes, that's crazy, because in a deck that I have one card that I turned upside down before we even met, and it's the 2 of spades. And I thought, what the, how the heck did he do that? So that got me. This was one of the first times I seen magic, like close up. It blew my mind. And now I have the ability to do the same to anybody else, and you can do this yourself. Okay, so this is the invisible deck. Okay, so a little bit on how this deck actually works. There are 2 sides. You have an odd side and an even side. So the even are all of the even numbers on the deck, and then right on the other side are all of the odds. How does this happen? Great question. So each card is paired to another one. It's the, so 9 and 4 equals 13, and they all equal 13. So for instance, ace would be 1, queen would be 12, that's 13, jack and 2, the 3 and 10, 9 and 4, so on. So it's also interesting that it has an opposite pair to the suit. So spade, the opposite would be a heart. Club, the opposite would be a diamond. So diamond, the opposite is club, right? So that's kind of how the deck works. Now, the reason it's 13 is because there's just 13 numbers in each suit. You have the ace through the 10, and then jack, queen, king. So you're probably thinking, wait a minute, how does the 13th card work if it's 12? And so the kings are the standouts. The kings basically live in here. The odd side will have both red kings. And that only means that on the even side, you have the 2 black kings. So you've got king of clubs, king of spades on the even side, king of hearts, king of diamonds on the odd side. Now what's cool about this is they all have a little bit of like a tackiness to the backs of the cards, which makes them harder to spread apart than like a regular deck. So if you put a little bit of pressure while you spread, they're gonna stay together, which is cool. I had to spread, I put a little bit of pressure, and I spread, and I found the jack of diamonds, and I spread with a little bit less pressure. I just put a little bit of less pressure when I spread there, and that allows me to reveal the 2 of clubs right there. And then I keep putting that pressure on while I press the rest, and it sells the illusion that there's only one. And so if you want to reveal the card that's underneath it, you have to think opposite. So if it's the 9 of hearts, you think, okay, hearts, it's gonna be a spade that I need to find. And then 9, how do I get to 13? 4. During your performance, you're going to have this deck already inside of a box. And then when they say their card, you are going to think of the card that you need to find, and it's gonna be the opposite of there. So if they say an even card, you're gonna be needing to think of an odd card. So if I'm thinking of an odd card, I need to pull out the odd cards facing up. Because if I pull out the even cards facing up, and then I flip it over to the odds, the audience is probably gonna look at that and be like, wait, why are there two sides that are face up, right? Honest question. So one way that I like to avoid having to do that or the guesswork is if I look at the 10, the even side, I will match it with this even side of the deck. So I put it just like that. On my odd side, if I pull the odd side face up, I get my odd cards. Practicing this is just gonna make this so much better because you're gonna get a feel for the card. You're also gonna mentally be like, got it, I now know math. You don't wanna be thinking when you do this. You just wanna make it like that's an interesting card choice. Well, what's weird is that I had in my deck one card. Out of all of the others, one card was turned face down and it was the 5 of diamonds. Is that not insane? That's the craziest thing. That's a little much, but you get the idea. So let's talk about a couple ways you can perform the invisible deck. Now, the most basic is to ask somebody to name a card. They name a card, you take the deck out and reveal it's the only card upside down in the deck. Woohoo! There's a couple ways that I've done it that have really helped build the narrative and got people excited for that big reveal so that when it does happen, they can't stand up anymore. The first one is leaning into the fact that this is invisible. If someone asks you, can you do a magic trick? I am usually like, oh, I don't have cards on me, but you know what? Let's try something with just like an invisible deck. Let's imagine a deck. Another way to introduce it is if you come up to somebody and say, hey, I recently just got this invisible deck. Would you mind helping me out with a magic trick? And then you hand them the deck. At this point, if they accept an invisible deck that you've handed them, they have agreed into this imagination that is going to involve a magic trick at the end of it, right? So they've kind of just been like, sure, weirdo, I'll take this invisible deck, like it's ha ha ha, super fun, until it's real, and then it's like, so what I'll do is I will mime to them what I want them to do, and then they basically end up doing it. So I make it super easy for them to follow along. I basically am saying, okay, cool, so you have the box, just take them out of the box if you don't mind, and go ahead and just give them a shuffle. So you're showing them what they should be doing, and they're watching you. They're gonna end up doing it. It's kind of fun. So they'll like take them out, and they'll shuffle, and you can even say like, go crazy. You can throw them in the air, like it's an invisible deck of cards. You can shuffle them however you want. Just make sure that they're mixed up. I'm gonna say, okay, they're shuffled, right? Cool. I don't want to see, and this is it's just fun to like play along with this, but I'm like, all right, I don't want to look. Take a card out of the deck, look at it, and then put it back in the deck upside down. Do you have it? Is it good? You got the card? You're thinking of the card? It's upside down in the deck? No, put them back in the box if you don't mind. Do you have the box? I've got it right here. I got the box. Boop, you take that, put the cards back in the box for me. They put them back in the box. You say, okay, now here's how we're gonna activate this. I'm gonna ask you to throw the deck of cards at me, just kind of like try to hit me like right here. I kind of just show my hands are empty. And I'm like, I want you to throw it right here, okay? Just as hard as you can, it doesn't matter, just go for it. 1, 2, 3, boom, like that. That's the idea. That's what's gonna happen. I will mime this, throw them right here. I'll watch them, and I'm doing this so that I can hide this arm. You see this guy right here? Woo! This hand disappears, goes into your back pocket, you palm this sucker, you just have it ready by your waist side. So when you get it thrown at you, just time it, and then you just bring this up and smack your chest, and you basically act like you just got hit by a deck of cards. When this happens, soak this moment in. There has not been an actual physical deck of cards until this point, and their brain hasn't yet registered that. So don't just go right into it. When this happens, you're also shocked. How did that happen, right? Everyone at this point is gonna be like, what? And now you're basically bringing home what they did. They turned a card upside down, all this stuff. So now they see the deck and they're like, no, and then you do your thing, okay? So another way of doing this, instead of throw it right at me, you could have them just throw it up in the air. And this is what's cool is because it diverts everyone's attention up there and it gives you all the time in the world. Just throw it up in the air and then I'm gonna try to catch it. Okay, so just throw it up in the air whenever you're ready. 3, 2, 1, go. Yep, and then, so the smacking, that just like really sells that this thing landed in your hand. And then from here, you basically just say, well, what was that card? They say it. You know whether you're looking for an odd card or an even card. Open the deck, take out the even side and find their odd card, or take out the odd side and find their even card, okay? That's a fun one. This next next one is cool because the deck is already out and about. Okay, you can do this by starting off by saying, I have a deck of cards here, I'm just gonna place it here on the table and we're gonna try something. So it's definitely more of like a mind reader kind of approach. A story that I like to lean into is more of, do you believe in coincidences? Because sometimes we think coincidences are at random, but what if we could actually control the coincidence and make it happen for something miraculous? I'll show you what I mean. When you do that, you're kind of already setting up this idea that, wait, what did you just say? Coincidences, something miraculous. I'm intrigued, but I don't really know what you mean. And so when you pull out a deck of cards, you basically put it on the table and you say, let's start with this. I want you to imagine a card. Just think of one off the top of your head. It could be the most random card, okay? I want you to just think of one. You have somebody pick a card, like Tammy says the 2 of spades, and you go, that's crazy. And you take it super delicately, very fair. You're gonna open up, it's the 2 of spades. So you're gonna wanna open up the odd side because you're looking for the Jack of Hearts. I'm gonna open up the deck. I'm gonna say, check this out. This entire deck completely face up except for one card. Tammy said the 2 of spades. This is just gonna really drill into the fact that people are like, are coincidences planned? Like, how did this happen? You really just sell this whole idea. That is the mind reader method. Before you go into a trick, think about how you're gonna build the narrative. What are you gonna start with? What is the idea that you're gonna try to get across? Is it the idea that coincidences can be controlled? Or is it the idea that you can manipulate ideas to become physical forms? I don't know. Whatever it is, you're basically putting an idea in somebody's mind of something that's impossible. And then you're showing them that that impossible thing can become possible, which inevitably makes them believe in magic and believe in you. The power that you have with your voice as a magician is so important. And to be able to talk to people and walk them through a narrative, to me, makes all of the time spent into the mechanics and the practice worth it. It sells this whole idea that magic can happen. It's fun to practice the mechanic. It's cool to do that. That's really important. Get that muscle memory down, but also get the muscle memory of the story down. That way, when you're telling the story and you're performing, you're not thinking about the words that you have to say. You're able to anticipate the next move because you don't know what they're gonna do, right? So they could do something that you're like, whoa, didn't see that coming. And you can pivot because you're so confident in not only the mechanic, but also the spoken word. That's it. I'm stepping off my box. I promise. I'm just saying that it's so important to do. Okay, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me and walking through the invisible deck. Some of my favorite ways to perform this. Also, for the giveaway, please just leave a comment of a story when you witnessed magic, whether it be on the street or on stage, and you were a participant or you saw it from afar and it had a long-lasting emotional connection for you. Magic is so cool. It allows people to get over these overbearing things that they feel in their life through a magical way, right? So I haven't done a giveaway before, so I think the idea I'm gonna do is, like, after a week of posting, we'll just see whichever stories are in there. I'm gonna just do a random selection. Whoever wins, I'm gonna send you an invisible deck. So you get a free invisible deck. You can start right away at performing some awesome magic tricks, right? So get out there, get performing, get confident, be awesome, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.